Welcome to Aviators Navigators, the final approach in aviation training. My name is Harold Calderon, ground and flight instructor. Today I'm going to be talking about airspace classification. Airspace classification. When we're talking about airspace classification, we have to visualize that is the vertical limit and the horizontal limit that exists above the air surface. That space is confined, is subject to regulations and certification established to follow by the Federal Aviation Administration. This three-dimensional airspace has width, length, and depth. That being said, we're trying to reinforce here that anytime you penetrate into an airspace, it's a three-dimensional view, and the way you think is not the same way as you think as you are on the air surface. It's a very complex operation that you have to handle and you need to understand in detail. Airspace classification consists of three different types: control, uncontrolled, and special use airspace. Let's cover control airspace first. Anytime we're talking about control airspace, the first thing that you have to keep clear in your mind is a control tower in operation. If the airport doesn't have a control tower in operation, it's not considered control. Most of the airports that surround the busiest airports in the nation, when we're talking about passengers and traffic, are considered control airspace. Within control airspace, pilots and aircraft are subject to regulations and certification. Within this control airspace, there are approximately 5 different classes. First one is known as an Alpha, the next one is known as a Bravo, the next one is known as Charlie, the next one is Delta, and the last one is Echo. Let's talk about uncontrolled airspace. Uncontrolled airspace is that kind of airport where there is no a control tower in operation. We could have a tower at the airport, but if that tower is not in operation, it's not considered control. That means uncontrolled airport is an airport that do not have or doesn't have a control tower in operation. Keep that in mind. That being said, pilots and aircraft are not subject to regulation or certification as long as you fly below 700 feet AGL. Once you reach above 700 feet AGL, you are subject to regulation because you are considered to be on Class E airspace that is considered controlled airspace. Special use airspace. Special use airspace exists pretty much anywhere over the surface where the government or any government agency has jurisdiction to have a control area. Okay? Within that control area, pilot has the authority to follow with the procedures established by the facility or the agency. Here we have 5 different kind of areas. Okay, the first one is known as a prohibited. The second one is restricted. The next one is alert. The next one is better known as a warning area. And the last one is a military operation area. I will be talking about in full details a airspace classification and area for every single area here on the next coming slides. Airspace altitude. Airspace classification combine above ground level and above sea level. As you can see here, the difference between above ground level and sea level is self-explanatory. Above sea level means the elevation that exists from the ocean all the way up to the terrain or the runway from where the airplane is going to be taken off. Above ground level refers the altitude that extends or exists or built above the terrain or runway. Terrain elevation plus airspeed definition equal shotted. What that means? Well, all the altitudes that you read directly from terminal area chart or sectional chart are known as a shotted. What that means? All the altitudes that you read are above sea level. Now, before the cartographer, put together all this aeronautical chart, he have to consider the elevation above sea level plus the elevation above the airspace. And the way they do it is, let's take for example Colorado Spring Airport. As you can see here on the left hand side, has a Class C airspace. If you look inside a Class C airspace, there is a red circle that reads SFC, that means from the surface, and 102, that means 10,200 feet MSL. The cartographer put together the graphic, and when he does that, he has to consider the airport elevation above sea level. That's what you see here on index 1. That is 6,187 feet MSL above sea level. And then from that surface that is going to be the airport, the Class C airspace is raised or built. Now, if you're going by definition of what Class C airspace entitle or means, Class C airspace extends from the surface all the way up to 4,000 feet. Now, in way to combine both, he has to add 6,187 feet plus 4,000 feet equal 10,187 feet. That number that you read right there is in MSL. Now, on top of that, the cartographer, he also incorporate a safety factor of 13 feet. Then if you add 13 feet plus 10,187, give us the total altitude of 10,200 feet MSL. If you come back to the chart and you can read from the surface to 10,200 feet, that's exactly what it stands for. See, he has considered the elevation above sea level plus the definition of that airspace built above that elevation, give us the total number of 10,200 feet, incorporating also 13 feet of safety factor within the area. Let's talk about Class A airspace, Class Alpha. Class Alpha extends from 18,000 feet or flight level 180 to an altitude of 60,000 feet or flight level 600. Most of the aircraft that operate on Class A airspace or Class Alpha are the jetliner or pressurized aircraft that can operate above 18,000 feet. Most of the pilots or aircraft that operate in this regimen or in this corridor, they need to be instrument rated and they need to have an IFR flight plan in way to operate within this airspace. Also, this airspace include or extend from the coastline of United States, including the 48 contiguous states, including Alaska, Hawaii, and territories as Puerto Rico and other, from 10 nautical miles from the coastline of those 48 states of United States and territories. Just keep that in mind. Class B airspace or Class Bravo. Class Bravo by definition extends from the surface all the way up to 10,000 feet. That's the standard. Okay, it could be configured or tailored in with different altitudes. Okay, but the standard Class B airspace extends from the surface all the way up to 10,000 feet, and then have multiple surfaces extending at different altitude. Like for this example, beginning at 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, and 6,500. The inner ring of that Class B airspace has a 5 nautical mile radius. Now, it also has another outer ring that encompasses 30 nautical miles radius. That is not visible on this graphic. Class Charlie or Class C airspace. Class C airspace begins from the surface all the way up to 4,000 feet AGL. Okay? And as you can see here, I put it very clear, that's the definition. Shot it, okay, when it shot it, that is going to be coming MSL, but right now, I'm talking about the definition. From the surface, all the way up to 4,000 feet, but when you see this particular airspace on the sectional chart or terminal outer chart, it's going to be charted. That means the numbers that you read directly from that airspace is going to be in MSL. You can see here, the inner circle has 5 nautical miles, and the outer circle that extends at 1,200 feet AGL has a 10 nautical mile radius. Also, there is another outer ring for Class C airspace that encompasses approximately between 20 to 30 nautical mile radius that is not shown on this particular graphic. Class Delta Class Delta extends from the surface all the way up to 2,500 feet AGL. That's the definition. But when you read it once again on the sectional chart or terminal area chart, it's going to be charted. Charted means you're going to be read it in MSL. The inner circle of Class D airspace has a 5 nautical mile radius. Class E airspace or Class Echo. Class Echo have 5 different configurations. The most likely one that you see extends from the surface all the way up to the next overlaying airspace. That means we can have Class E airspace from the surface on and extend all the way up until this Class E airspace meet or reaches the next overlaying airspace. That could be Bravo, could be Delta, could be Charlie, or any other. Class G airspace or Class Gulf. Class Gulf extend from the surface all the way up to the next overlaying airspace. Okay, as you can see here, on uncontrolled airport, that means no control tower in operation. Class G airspace exists below 700 feet, but once you extend above 700 feet, it becomes Class E airspace. A special use airspace. A special use airspace consists of that confined airspace that is used for any other activity that is not considered controlled airspace or uncontrolled. In other words, that particular airspace on the air surface that is not part of Class A, B, or Charlie, Delta, Echo, or Class G. Then if it's not considered Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, or Golf, it's considered a special use airspace. Now, when we're talking about a special use airspace, we have different areas. The most likely one that you see, there are approximately 10, but the one that you will be able to see are prohibited, restricted, alert, warning, and military operation. On the top view, that's exactly how the symbol for each particular area look like on the sectional chart or terminal area chart. Prohibited is indicated by the letter P and 49 or any other number. Restricted, you can see that is also indicated by restricted and the letter R and the hatching circle. You can see here, same thing for prohibited. Alert area consists of the word alert area with a number, okay? And like it say here, it's an area for where most of the training pilots are concentrated. It's an area basically isolated for pilot training, for practicing maneuver. Warning area, same way, is designated by warning, by the word warning or the letter W453, and it also has a crush line, as you can see here, crush hatching line. It normally exists over water. Military operation area is an area where there is a military operation and aircraft fighters are flying above and below 1500 feet, low speed and high speed. Most of the prohibited area are military installation or government building or property that belong to the Department of Defense, as well as restricted area. On this graphic here, we have basically a conjunction of airspace together. That's exactly how the airspace in the United States look like, and most of the airspace around the world. Okay, you can see Class A airspace exists between 18,000 to 60,000 feet. Class B airspace exists from the surface all the way up to 10,000 feet. Class C airspace or Charlie extend from the surface all the way up to 4,000 feet. Class Delta extend from the surface all the way up to 2,500 feet AGL. Special use airspace could be anywhere within the Class E airspace. Class G airspace extend from the surface all the way up to 60,500 feet MSL. Also could be from the surface up to 1,200 feet AGL. And the last one from the surface to 700 feet AGL. Now, This is kind of complex. As you can see, you have the defined numbers there for each airspace, but anything above that altitude is considered Class E. Class E airspace, let's say for example on Class Bravo, extend above 10,000 feet. Same thing for Class Charlie, same thing from Class D above 2,500. Anytime you see a special use airspace, right above the ceiling of that special use airspace, we're going to see Class E. Right above Class G, that is defined from the surface up to 60,500, is Class G, but right above 16,500 is considered Class E until it meets the next overlaying airspace. As you can see here, it is Class Alpha. Same thing for 1,200 ceiling and 700, right above is Class E. Now, so many people say, and what happened above 60,000 feet? Right above 60,000 feet, once again, we have Class E airspace operation or airspace. Contour intervals elevation. What is that or what that means? Contour interval elevation means anytime you read a sectional chart or terminal area chart, the color on the background doesn't mean anything with the airspace. Only means the elevation that the airspace of the surface where the airplane is flying. Anytime the airplane flies over that surface, and you can see the different in contour, when I say contour colors or contour shape, the airplane is actually flying from one elevation to the other, or increasing or decreasing the elevation as the airplane displaces through the air surface. Class B airspace. This is the best example here, Class B airspace. I can have it in a graphic and exactly how it looks in the navigational chart, sectional chart, or terminal area chart. You can see extend from the surface all the way up to 10,000 feet, and also have different surface, in this particular case beginning at 3,000, 5,000, and 4,000, and that's exactly how it looks like. Class Charlie, extend from the surface all the way to 4,000 feet. Also have an outer shelf beginning at 1,200 feet AGL and extend all the way up to 4,000 feet. And when you see it on the chart, it means from the surface to an altitude of 7,600, and that number that you see there is in MSL. Don't forget, that means charted. Class D airspace. Class D airspace for this example begin from the surface all the way up to 3,000 feet. As indicated here, the segmented circle is Class D airspace, and the number that you see in the square, that is 30, it means that's the maximum ceiling of Class D airspace, that is 3,000 feet MSL. Okay, as you can see outside the segmented circle, I have indicated here is 1,200 feet AGL. That's Class E airspace beginning from that altitude. Class D and Class E extension airspaces. Once again, Class D airspace is depicted here by the segmented circle in blue color and the number 25 in the square. That means extend from the surface all the way up to 2,500 feet MSL, but anything beyond the segmented circle, as you can see here, have a different configurations of airspace. Like for example, outside the segmented circle, Class E airspace begin at 1,200, but in this particular case, it's going to be 700 feet, as you can see here, 700 feet AGL, and also we have Class E airspace indicated by this magenta or violet color segmented lines, beginning from the surface all the way up to the next overlaying airspace, as well as on the top boundary here of Class D, we have also another segmented line, magenta color, that is considered Class E airspace. Class E airspace, beginning from the surface up to the next overlaying airspace, like I explained previously. In this case, you can see the segmented circle in magenta color means Class E airspace, beginning from the surface all the way up to the next overlaying airspace. Also have other example here where Class E airspace begin at 1,200. That is way beyond this big net line here that looks like a brown color or little magenta color. That means anything that is inside that big net color we have airspace beginning, Class E airspace beginning at 700 feet, and anything beyond that big net color is considered Class E airspace above 1,200. Now, inside the segmented circle, right here on the segmented line, is considered Class E airspace beginning from the surface. Class G airspace from the surface up to 700 feet. See, anytime you penetrate inside this airport in Bridgeport, this Bridgeport airport here, anytime you are inside the Bridgeport area right here, you are actually on Class G airspace or Gulf below 700 feet, but right above 700 feet is considered Class E airspace, as you can see here. Now, if you extend beyond the big net line here or thin mark here, is actually Class E airspace beginning at 1,200 feet. Class G airspace from the surface up to 1,200 feet AGL. Okay, once again, there's no airport here. It's actually a contour shape, okay, of a section chart or terminal area chart. Anything that you see there on the green color, that means that anything below 1,200 feet, that's exactly what you see here, is considered Class G. But once you reach 1,200 feet AGL, you are in Class E airspace. Same thing underneath here. The airspace inside the big net line here, okay, is considered Class E airspace above 700 feet, as well as on this area here. That's all I have regarding airspace classification. Hopefully, I would like to see you again in the near future. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.